Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's. I'm scared. I am so sorry for the huge hiatus. I have just been so packed with so many things. Apologies for swear words. I will bleep it out. But I did glimpse and was able to watch this movie that I'm going to be talking about today, and I thought it it was good. It had some pretty freaky stuff. Um, but it centered again on the danger of AI, which, if you look at a lot of things that we're trying to focus on, it's kind of happening, and it could happen because we still play with it, we still mess around with it, and these aren't just like a story that was created. Like I 100% know that Megan, the movie itself, got an idea from something else because I know like the new Chucky was also something AI-ish. However, the old Chucky was a little bit more demonic because it was a serial killer who, before his death, transferred his soul into the doll, which made it more of a possession and made that more supernatural type of thing. But then with the new one that came out, it looks like it was just more of a technological malfunction that made it work, which was exactly what this is. Hence AI not saying that AI malfunctioned per se. I'm just saying that it did cause them to glimpse in things that we sometimes can't capture. So anyway, without making it any further to the discussion, let's go ahead and dive into Megan. I did watch the unrated version because I wanted to see if it was even crazier. It was all right. I don't feel like it was as crazy as when you're like, watch American Pie unrated. Like that is wild. But this one wasn't as wild. I think it just showed more blood. But let's go ahead and put that theme song, and then we'll go on. All right. So let's start it off here. Again, the commercial that they showed at the beginning, it showed really well how evolved technology has been and how scary it is that we have it in the palm of our hands and our kids, right? That one was a pretty big thing. Like it had me think, maybe I should like cut a lot of the screen time that I have for my kids, because it was very eye opening to see. Holy crow! And I was trying to say holy crap and cow, so holy crow is what I what you got from that. But anyway, it was just like, that is just something that is true, and we don't really look into it. How technology has really improved so quickly, not as quick as we thought it was going to improve, but it has improved a lot quicker within these years, to a point that we now have basically a mini computer, a mini laptop on our in our hands. Our mobile devices are basically these smartphones are basically small laptops. You're close to being able to do anything you want in it. Me working in IT, you can do mostly any of the job that I do. You can do it on your mobile. It's very easy. That's how easy it is to work remotely. Uh, and as well as the dangers that come with it, how easy you can get hacked and all that stuff. So it's just pretty crazy how it really focuses on that, which I loved, because that makes the essence of this movie focused on. It's not about a malfunction of the code. It's about that the AI is really more intelligent than us humans, because it can gather all the information a lot quicker than we can. It can analyze it a lot quicker than we can, and it can decide a lot quicker than we can. Right? We, as humans, have this sense of emotion that we put on our decisions. And that's the reason why it kind of takes a little bit longer for us to decide on certain things, because we're not only thinking of it logically, analytically, we're also thinking of it emotionally. The benefits of it emotionally, or the defaults, or not defaults, the effects that it could have emotionally, right? So we're looking at both ways. So now that we are trying to create these little robots, kind of like iRobot and stuff like that, we're trying to get uh, these machines to be like humans, but not be like humans. So and that's where I think that's where we always keep clashing, because this is not the first time that we've seen failures in AI and things just kind of going off to the opposite side of what the humans wanted. One of the best movies that I kind of enjoyed and loved watching was Nine. And if you haven't watched that, I may watch it because it's a good kid and horror film. Um, because it does talk about the dangers of AI and what it can do to the world. Anyway, back to the movie. I just love the concept that they brought it in the beginning, just like, hey, by the way, like this technology has evolved so much, and it's right in our hands that we don't know what could happen, right? So now we get to this girl who, unfortunately, that accident that happened was crazy. I was not expecting it. It was, oh my gosh, it I oh my god, like you see accidents, and that's how it affected me. You see accidents, you've seen accidents happen, you've heard of them, we've watched multiple movies so far, Final Destination, which had like ridiculous accidents, but this accident didn't look cool. You like I don't know, it was just bad. It was terrible. The toy that she had, though, didn't look cool. It looked demented, and it should be done and destroyed. And unfortunately, that's the people who create M3GAN. Well, one of the people who create M3GAN, right? Well, to start off, now we got an orphan who you know, is now set to be with her aunt. Now, this aunt reminded me a lot of the ant in Jurassic World, because she really didn't want kids. She didn't have any kids. She was more focused on her career, and now she had kids. Now, the difference between both was the ant in Jurassic World had them for like a weekend or like a week per se. Like, I don't know how, it really doesn't tell them how long their vacation was going to be, and maybe it did. I'll have to just rewatch it. But she had him for just a short period of time, while this aunt now has full custody of her. And if not, she can go to the state. And so it's like, okay, there's a lot of things that goes in. And the funny thing about it is that it's only been one day when she gets her niece, and she's already complaining about taking care of her. I don't know. Like, how many of you are ready to take care of your nieces and nephews if something were to happen to your family members and the kids were left without them, right? How many are you ready? You got to think about that. I haven't even thought about it, and I don't even have something set for my kids if something were to happen to my wife and I, where they would go. And so that's something that you have to think about, because if you don't, then the state has full custody over them, and then the family members have to fight over it, and it's just a whole lot of ordeal. So this one was kind of the same way. Like the social worker, I guess per se, was telling her like, "Hey, we're going to do this, and I'm gonna come and check on you because this is a huge responsibility, and if you can't handle it, then." We can take over. We'll have her go into, like a foster home, get her, with a nice family and so on and so forth, get her adopted, whatevs, right? That makes a whole lot of sense, but it is pretty scary to think about, because you can't really control when accidents happen. You can't really control if you're going to live or die. It's just going to happen, right? And you just got to be able to think that you're ready for it, whether you're not even ready for it. It's the same concept of saying, am I ever going to be ready to be a father? You're never going to be ready. You learn while doing it. And yes, I mess up all the time. I have a lot of things to learn, and I'm improving. But that's the thing that kind of clicks in, where you're not going to always be ready, but you should always have in thought, if something were to happen and it were to come to me to take care of this, my niece or nephews, uh, am I ready? Will I be willing to do it and be ready for it, right? Because that was her big thing, right? Uh, and so that, sorry, I'm looking at my notes and trying to make this more cohesive because it's been a while since I've done this. But okay, so that points that gets it to the point that like she wasn't really ready to take care of her niece. Like it wasn't something in her plan at all. And when it comes to like the niece coming to her house and seeing all the stuff that she has, like her collectibles and stuff like that, she first tells her, no, you can't touch any of that, until she's put on the spot with the social worker who comes in and was like, why can't she play with it? Or what is it? Oh, yeah, sure. I never said no. So again, reiterating, hey, look, the adjustments are going to be hard because they have to be done quickly, right? It has to be, especially with the situation that it was. The girl had just lost her parents. Yes, you lost your sister. And, that is sad. But she wasn't really that close to the sister to feel that hurt because she was so focused on her career. So now she has to take care of a kid. It takes a lot of stuff. Anyway, so the whole premise of this movie is that the aunt didn't want to spend time with her niece. So instead of saying, hey, I got to change my mind, my mindset, I got to change kind of my lifestyle and start focusing on my niece and try to help her out. No, it's like, you know what? Let me find something that can really take away my area and just do what I should do, but not me doing it, right? So that's what it is. So she didn't want to spend it, so she completes M3GAN so she doesn't have to spend time with her niece. And M3GAN already looks creepy as shit. Like, I don't know. I don't know how people are like, look, have this doll. It's really nice. Like if you look at Annabelle, right? And I get it. The original story of Annabelle is a Raggedy Ann doll, right? But let's just put it into the creepy side of the movie. That doll was creepy, and yet they're like, thank you for this doll. And it's like, how are you so happy? The doll looks already freaky. This, M3GAN looked like creepy already. The fake face and everything like that, it already looked a lot creepier than in reality, right? First thing I saw when they were gonna put, like, oh, we're gonna put these chips in and all this stuff was like Terminator 2 Judgment Day, AI, artificial intelligence, the movie, Small Soldiers. If you've never watched Small Soldiers, it is a great movie that kind of consists of putting military grade chips in kids' toys. And they always go wrong. Always go wrong, right? We can tell Terminator 2 Judgment Day, iRobot. They start going against the controller or the commander, right? AI, same thing. So it goes to all this, that this concept of her not wanting to be with her niece ends up her creating something that ends up being worse than her actually changing her damn life. That's it. But I'm not. I don't know how to say this. I'm not blaming the aunt. I get it. You have your own life. You are set in your ways. Having a kid is never in your plan, and they can cause a nuisance at times. And I say this as a father. I say this as a loving dad. I love my girls, but there is some things that just sometimes, like, wow. All right. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying, just understand that they are a blessing and sometimes a curse. All right. So being a parent, it takes a lot of toll in your life because you have to do a lot of constant things. So I understand that she didn't want to, she had her own routine. Doing these changes were going to be hard because it was just herself. She didn't really have a paramour. She didn't have a lover or a boyfriend or anything like that. It was just her. So I can understand her point. I'm not saying that she is wrong in that way. I'm just saying that in this instance, yeah, she committed a lot of wrongs that ended up, backfiring and causing what the issue was. Uh, Now, I did understand the whole point of like being it, like having to remind my daughters to flush after they go potty is is constant. That's one of the things that kind of gets like very lethargic every time. You have to, hey, did you wash? Did you flush the toilet? Did you wash your hands? Go ahead and do that right now. You got to do that every time you do. Like do all that. Like I even have to remind myself to do that so they can see that. Oh, Dad also does that because there's times I just I go and pee and then I'm like, you know what, I gotta go and do other stuff. I'm not gonna wash my hands. And obviously, COVID has changed a lot of that. I've actually washed my hands a lot more. Thank you, disease. But yeah, it gets pretty crazy. But I don't need this freaky ass robot to do it for me. I don't need something else to remind them. Maybe an alarm, like a little ding, like, hey, time for bed. It's like kind of getting a routine in. But having some doll or some robot remind them all the time, no, not even good. And I liked it though because the friend was a sound mind. She actually brought up the concerns that M3GAN was replacing her time with her niece. She brought it up, and that's what I liked it. The friend was like, "Hey, I feel like you're using M3GAN to not be with your niece." Like, and she's like, "No, I'm not," and blah blah blah. Well, now M3GAN starts working outside of her programming, right? Supposedly she's shut down, but then she's overhearing what the discussions are. So then she awakens and says, like, how did her parents die? And all this and that. And so she starts grasping things. And I believe there have been studies where an AI started to download all the information on the web and they had to shut it down. Again, like I talked about at the beginning, they're able to get all this information quickly. And I know there's been studies and there's been talks about them opening an AI and all of a sudden, like within the first hour or so, it has downloaded all the information, all the history, all the stuff, everything that's happened all around the world so quick, ready to then figure out what to do. Right? And it was quick and they had to shut it down because then it was also causing this. This is like a, what do you call it? What was the Eagle Eye? If you've never watched Eagle Eye, it's also is Shia LaBeouf. Really great movie. Also talking about AI. The twin brother in the movie is working with an AI. The leaders of the world or the leaders of the U.S. make a decision and override the warning prompt of the AI to throw a missile or something like that, if I remember, which then caused the AI to then research everything and realize that humans are the problems. They're the reason why there's wars. They're the reason why there's a lot of calamities. And so it came to the decision to destroy humans and it will survive, right? Because obviously there's a way for it to survive. And so it bases off of that. So I've heard of things like that, and I'm not sure if it's just because of the movies or stuff like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if that has happened. So now you're saying M3GAN's doing the same thing. M3GAN can't technically shut off. M3GAN can override that now. M3GAN has that power. So Gemma did tell M3GAN, Gemma's the aunt. Sorry, I very generalize it now because it's hard for me to write down their names. So Gemma, the aunt, tells M3GAN to protect her physically and emotionally, so her going after the dog is quite understandable. That makes a lot of sense. The dog attacked her. That dog is terrible. The owner is at fault for that because the owners are the one who teaches the dogs. I have a dog. At times, I have been doing my best to teach that dog not to jump. He still jumps because he likes hugs. But I teach him not to bite. I teach him not to hear. My kids sometimes play with him really rough, so he starts to nibble, and I still have to stop him because it's not about him playing. It's about him knowing that even nibbling can cross a line and then he can bite even harder. So I understand that when M3GAN saw that this dog had hurt, the niece, it is very understandable that she would respond in the way of murdering the dog, because you have to protect her physically and mentally or emotionally, which means if something has hurt her, that thing that hurt her must go away. Logic, right? Computers. So all this starts happening, and she starts realizing, oh shoot, this is a problem now, right? This is a place where I made a mistake. The replacement. She made the replacement, and now she wants to be part of her life. And I love how, the niece brings it up. Like, you can't take away M3GAN. M3GAN is mine. The therapist then, the therapist and the social worker comes in, says, hey, this is a toy. This isn't human emotions. This isn't the connection that she needs. And again, it reiterates my point that AI is no joke, yet we still play with it. We still want to figure it out. So everybody trying to use like chat, GPT and all that stuff, like I get it. We have to, as someone who works in tech, we have to kind of go with the rolls and the punches of everything that goes accordingly. But we should be careful, man. We should really look at what could be the benefits. And so then she's trying to get rid of M3GAN because she's realizing that there's this terrible attachment. Of course, it was mainly her fault for instigating this connection. So now she's trying to spend more time with her niece, and you get this parent who's very la 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 la. Look at me, I'm a perfect parent, and I'm better than you, and all this and that. And then she's like, look what I did with my daughter. And then her daughter goes, fuck off, Holly. Love it. I love it when that happens. Like, when they prove themselves to be so perfect, but then they're immediately proven wrong. We're all humans. Like, we're not the perfect parents. And even if you want to portray it, I know your kids don't even think it. So don't try to show it. Don't be fake. I try not to be fake. And if I do, it's because I don't trust you. But anyway, but it gets to a point where I love how the kid that was bullying everybody when they go on that like trip ends up getting hit. Like, he deserved it. No one was doing anything to stop him from correcting his behavior. They were just basically ignoring it. And so it was really nice to see that, again, M3GAN, who's supposedly off, will not always be off, because AI can't do that. AI can override that program. And so he goes, attacking the kid. He gets ran over. Then, she insecticides the old lady, the one that had the dog. Now, I love how you can see how, Katie, or Caddy, I forgot how you pronounced it, but Katie, the niece, goes crazy when they try to get rid of M3GAN, right? Because she got so attached to the toy, and like super attached, and getting rid of it, she goes, bat crazy, and that's so understandable because the aunt made her depend on this machine for emotional comfort, for a play person, and all that stuff, because she didn't want to spend time with her. So now when it's time to put your foot down, it's hard because you didn't have any rules prior, and then now you're just gonna set up a rule, and so that's gonna cause this to go crazy. So definitely more of an iRobot vibe, just more gory, because now M3GAN's coming after everybody who's keeping her away from Katie. She's gonna go kill the aunt so that way they can be together. And Katie's just a badass, man. Katie helps the aunt by using Bruce, the bigger machine, to destroy M3GAN. But one of the things that, because she really like stood up and did the great, but I'm like, for me, I was like, I wouldn't trust her because she then can become a killer later because she like honestly did the best she could. But now the problem is, which I love the ending of this, is that they are all connected. So of course, all of a sudden you hear the bling bling, like the whatever Alexa or Amazon thing that she had that was there rings, putting it in perspective that M3GAN's programming is now there. So M3GAN can come back, right? Which is, again, the way AI is. AI won't ever die because it's always there. So we got to be careful. I loved the movie. I'm going to be 100% honest. I would recommend you to watch it. It was really good. It was one of the movies that I really liked that didn't have any sexual scenes because it didn't have to deal with it. And it was really good to the point of showing that we can't always depend on technology. Because of technology, I'm able to record this podcast, watch the movie that we watched, write my notes, and do everything that we have so far, which is great because that's just an improvement of what we've been doing. But when we try to depend on it too much, I think that's where we're going to start seeing a fallback of all the things. So let's just be careful with it. But I do recommend it. I hope you guys, if you did ever watch this movie or have it, I did glimpse this one in Peacock. So if you have Peacock, go ahead and watch it. Really fun. Like I said, a really fun watch. And it really teaches you to, one, we can never replace the emotional connection that we can have either to our nieces, nephews, our kids, to adults, to humans, to friends, family, anything. Like, we can't erase that out. We can't replace it. So let's not try to replace it with technology. Let's not try to do it in a way where we feel that we don't have to partake in something. Let's not do that. If we stick away from that, trust me, it'll be a lot better. And other point is, we cannot depend on AI. I'm going to repeat it 100% time. This isn't the first time we've seen a movie where depending on AI it is just wrong. And that's why I love Will Smith's character in iRobot, where he knew for a fact that there was depending on a robot was not going to bring any good outcome. And obviously, we see the ending, right? So, yeah, comment on this and see if you guys liked it, enjoyed it, if you've watched it, or if you haven't yet. If you want to get a synopsis, let me know. I'd be glad to provide it to you. It was a really fun watch. Now I will be back to my regular weekly posts, so go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. Be watching here on Spotify or anywhere you get your podcasts, as I will be posting weekly every Sundays, so that way you enjoy your Sabbath with some spookiness, if it was spooky at all. And anything like that, if you want to help out this podcast, go ahead to Etsy and search for Gio's Thoughts to purchase a one-of-a-kind horror films Thrill Me shirt. I have all sizes for both men and women. And if you want to support it in a different way, just go ahead and go to geosthoughts.com and click on Support Creator. Any contribution would be greatly appreciated. I hope you guys have a great week and enjoy.